All right, I think we are live. And yes, we are. Good evening. This is Omni Sanders down here in Jacksonville, Florida of Overcoming the Odds. And hopefully my internet can hold up for a little bit because it is currently raining and thunder and lightning is passing by right now. But should be pretty good to go. And that's okay. That's all right. Just want to let you guys know as far as, education is valuable no matter how you get it. And it is. It really is. I know I'm very pro education myself. And it's funny because all of us on our panel, we all got our degrees as well. And the thing is, too, in today's times, are people continuing their education? I know that's always been a pet peeve of mine, continue to always learn. That's been a pet peeve of mine because, some people can hide behind their degrees. Not saying there's anything wrong about that, but, if it was, let's say 10 plus years ago, like for example, myself when I graduated from college, it used to be, kind of like, oh, I know that or whatever, or I know how that goes. Wrong type of word is if you want to, if you want to do anything big in your life. So keep that in mind. We'll get to a handful of other things too as well. But without further ado, we'll take it out to California real quick.
Hi, guys. My name is Patricia Henry, and thank you for joining us this Friday. Andre said that it's thundering and lightning where you are. Hopefully, we don't lose his connection. But we're here to talk about education, why it is important. We know that sometimes our profession can kind of bash education, but we're going to explain why you need to be educated. We all know that it is important, but why is it important? How can you use it, especially in the online marketing world, the entrepreneurial world, and in regular life? We can't go anywhere without learning something. That's just how humans are hardwired, so to speak. We all need to learn, and so that's our topic for today.
All right, and more than anything, too, uh, as far as education, you have to have basically the willingness to learn. I've always been a huge fan of Robert Kiyosaki and his wife Kim. They're pro education as well. Same thing with Napoleon Hill. He's been long gone, but for decades he was pro education as well. The thing about both men, talking about Kiyosaki and Napoleon Hill, is of the school system, which they had a problem with it. I ain't gonna lie, I did too once I got into really the home-based business profession. Not saying school is not important. That's not my point. But the thing is, as far as having a purpose, as far as like let's say you're going to college, okay, why? What it is that you want to do in college. The traditional school system does not teach you, and it really should be at an early age. I'm talking like elementary school as far as what it is that you want. Little kids, when they're growing up, they want to have all these dreams, aspirations. But why does that kind of diminish as they get to say before they even get to high school? You see what I'm saying? There are different ways of learning. We all learn differently. On the panel, we all learn differently as well. She's trying to work getting on here as well, Julianne. So it's funny because we all got different experiences as well. And again, you're talking about people that have the degrees. Not saying we're anything special whatsoever, but the thing is, we all have our own different aspects of education. But I know one thing we can all agree on as far as like I just mentioned earlier, don't sit behind like the diploma or a degree. You're not saying that you know everything. I'm not gonna lie, when I graduated from college, some people used to just mess with me because I had a degree or whatever. Like, oh man, look at this, a smart kid, whatever. That didn't mean anything. That doesn't mean squat or whatever. It's funny because you get it both ways. People with education will look on down upon people that not quote unquote educated, and the ones that are educated will look down upon the other. It goes vice versa, and it's sad. It's sad. And Julianne, she had mentioned like in her Facebook post the other day, as far as a lot of people in the home-based business profession have bashed school. And I understand where she's coming from. She's right. A lot of people in the profession that bash school. And I when we were talking in our chat the other day, I related to like how some people have bash jobs. I'm not gonna lie. Most people in the profession, talking about home-based network marketing, online marketing, they're part-time, so they are working. They are working. I'm working right now still. So I built the business part-time. I'm not going to take anything away from people that do choose to do so, if that's what you want. My only thing is for the person that always sits to complain and blame. That's what I got a problem with. I got a problem with that though. I know Patricia, she's heard me rant and rave about this so many times too, like when we've been done about that. That's always been my pet peeve. I got a problem with people that complain about it. You see something that's a potential opportunity and you don't take action. I cannot stand that. I hate that. That's all on you. That's all on you. And you're going to sit there and still sit and complain. I'm going to sit here and blame this politician, blame my job, blame my kids' excuse or whatever, blame this. No, that's on you. You take responsibility for your actions. I'm sorry. If you're in a, most of us watching this on adult, and it's hard to feel sorry for somebody if you're not going to take actions to something. Nobody wants to hear you complain and blame anyway. Why do you want to have that added stress or even listen to that negativity? You see how I'm getting at? So that's been my pet peeve. And again, Patricia, you know exactly where I come from about this as well. Yes, education is very important, and it always will be too. But at the same time, with the information age moving so quickly, this is the sad thing about traditional school system. And we talked about this briefly before. As soon as a textbook or workbook is already printed, guess what? That's outdated. In this information age, it is moving like this. I was in the barbershop a couple of days ago, and barber mentioned, it's like, yeah, elementary school, I'm not too sure if this is certain. You can let me know, get in contact with me to let me know. I'm not too sure. My barber was saying that, little things that says, writing in cursive is kind of being thrown out the window of being taught at school. I don't know this. I don't quote me on this, but can you understand? We're in the information age. Computers. Do you really need to have to write in cursive or whatever? Think about it now. Not saying it's good or bad or whatever. Not saying it's wrong. But the thing is it really that much of a need? See what I'm saying? A lot of stuff, like you go into different professions as far as, maybe being a doctor, lawyer, accountant, a teacher. Yes, school is important. I'm not going to lie. But not everybody has the mentality of being one of those type of professions. Me, I want to be a professional athlete. So it's like, why are you going to have me sitting there going to classes? I'm like, oh my goodness. And no, even when I'm done, when it's all said and done playing the game, I still play semi-pro, pay to play. When it's all said and done playing, it's like, how is this going to help me in my everyday life? Like science.
Well,
I was just curious about this.
It's interesting too, because they do teach basics. Basics are where you can put 2 and 2 together. That makes 4, or 1 and 1 together that makes 2. You have to have the basics and the foundations, so that it can make, how do you say, connections, so to speak. So, like if you're, for instance, when the body is building within the mother's womb, you've got to have those basics. If you don't have those basics, then the child won't be fully developed. We know that people come out abnormal, but if they're exposed to certain things, it's all good. Like you said, with cursive, it is good to learn that, but not stress that. I believe that people should be exposed to everything. And this one thing too about, they've cut out some programs that used to be in schools, music, even athletics, certain, gym classes, a lot of things that kids need to learn. And if they don't get it there, they may not get it anywhere, so to speak, or they'll be paying a gym membership, to go to do that. But we know that certain things formulate or are set, especially brain patterns. Those things are set when we're children. And they had done experiments on babies who were born that did not have a touch, from a loving parent or person, and then how they became sociopaths, right? So there is a certain course or funnel, so to speak, that we all have to go through with life experiences. And then you think about it in other countries. We live here in the United States, but I have not had the same life experience as somebody who was Oriental, let's say, or somebody who was in Africa, or somebody who was European. But then that's where your education comes in, because I know I have a lot of nice childhood memories, but one of them was to watch a movie on Saturday. Was a series of children's movies, and they took us all around the world in different movies that they had. It was a travel show. I like travel show, and I like this children's program because they had different movies from different countries with different children stories. And so I got a glimpse into the world, so to speak. And, if that wasn't formulated when I was young, who knows, maybe I wouldn't be interested in traveling or, meeting other people. We're such in an isolated bubble. We have to burst that bubble to escape and learn other things. That's why we have a lot of prejudice. People don't want to learn what somebody else is, how they function, what they do. They just want to live in their own world. And that's just now the way the world is, especially now. Like what Andre said, the world is moving so fast with the internet age. Yeah, has it really improved our lives? Somewhat. Are people still starving to death? Yes. Are people still dying? Yes. But with all the advances that the internet is implementing, we could use it for good or bad. And hopefully, I know the people that I hang around or we hang around with, we want to use this for good, this platform called the internet. And with our online businesses, we reach out, we educate people. Andre, you and I, we're really educators, right? I mean, we teach people how to do an online business. So yeah, that's what we do as well. So
also add on top of that as well, as far as educating, rereading the book right now, Eric Worre's book, Network Marketing Pro, and he brought that up too, as far as, even, being a network marketing professional, home-based business, online marketing, affiliate marketing, however you want to word it. You're right. We do help educate people, and we try to give them an understanding. There's too much intolerance as far as going around. And one thing that I heard as far as for a six-figure in the profession, he mentioned as far as tolerance, it really simply means, I disagree with you, but I love you anyway. And you're right as far as, we should be, open to see different things, different avenues. Okay, this is how this person might, do this or whatever, this action, or, react to something. And it's unfortunate because little simple stuff as far as just going to do their own research, again, the information age is a plus because you can ask, if you want to find out something, you can ask our friend, this guy named Google. Been doing pretty good for the last, decade and a half, if I'm not mistaken. But you can get most of your answers, questions answered if you got something that's like, let me figure out about this. A lot of people don't want to just do that. They don't want to go and read, which is, again, my pet peeve. And this goes back to what I mentioned earlier as far as, if you're somebody that blames and complains, the first information and runs with it, actually, without doing, go. Like I could mention so many times before in past, hangouts. Go and question some stuff or research stuff when I'm bringing up as well. As far as not saying I'm here to be right. The thing is, go and look for it yourself. This information for yourself to go check something out. A lot of people don't do so. Perfect example. You see, like, different times when it's elections for, whatever, mayor, presidents, different politicians, people will run like crazy, and, social media will have fun about this. But it's like, if you sit back and think about it, for example, last three presidents between Bush, Obama, and Trump, does anybody know any of those guys personally? No. But we have a whole bunch of opinions about it. There's a whole lot of people that have a whole bunch of opinions about them completely, which is ridiculous. It's sad. And again, going back to something that I know Kiyosaki mentioned this when he collaborated with Donald Trump 11 years ago. One of their books, Why We Want to Be Rich, they both imply it's like, don't rely on a politician. I'm pretty sure if we were one-on-one with Donald Trump right now today, he'd probably say the same things. Like, hey, don't sit here and rely on me. It's on you. What you want to do with your future. Mm-hmm. That's true.
Well, that's true. Like you were saying that people rely on, it's easier to fall back and let somebody else do it, I guess, and then they complain when it's not done right. So it would be better if they took it into their own hands to, be more proactive and look into things. I'm not saying to be a revolutionist or something like that, but take charge of your own life. Because they said, I think it was President Kennedy that talked about, when you were going to build the nation, that you have to take your own individual responsibility to build every little piece of it and who are you? You can't build everything, and nor can the president. And you're kind of foolish if you believe that, because in the Bible, in Psalm, I think it's 146:3, it says, "Do not put your trust in nobles, to whom no salvation belongs." And why does it say that, or why did God say that? Because men are imperfect. Men are imperfect. They fail miserably, and then the next thing you know, they're impeached, beheaded, or run out of office. So basically, you want to educate yourself. We look at Tony Robbins. I know somebody an internet marketer that just went to a Tony Robbins event, and they said he was amazing. They're in love with him now. But he's just a man. But he can deliver. He's gotten to a level of life where he's always put on these seminars. He's always educated people to be something better than what they can be. So for that, you have to admire that. And he has a following, of course, and that's how he makes his money. But who's to say that you can't do the same thing? Once you have some kind of, you brand yourself. I personally, I often thought about that. Why couldn't I be somebody like that? I think a lot of us, we hold back because of fear, that we say we can never do something like that. That's too awe-inspiring. It reminds me of, when you're poor maybe, or you're middle income, and you're driving through a rich area, and you look at all these houses, and you're saying, I'll never be able to afford that. Well, you've already put a negative mindset in your brain, right? So I remember that's what I used to do, because I used to work in Beverly Hills as a fashion designer, one of my very first jobs. And one of the designers had a house in Beverly Hills, and I was living in a little apartment, and I'm saying, dang, she was a company owner and all of this. And I said, I'll never be able to afford that. I'll never be able to do this and that like she has. But, I was young, and I was on my way to becoming a fashion designer, and I never got a house like that, but I bought like 3 houses, and in the end, they weren't mansions, but if I put them all together, I could have lived in Beverly Hills, I had income property and stuff like that. So we just have to have a plan and a goal, and we just have to know how to implement it. And a lot of times it's just education. How are you going to do it? I didn't just buy those houses because, I had a brainstorm all at one time. It took time. It took time to figure out what to do, how to do it, and, investments. And what's so important is not necessarily general education. You have financial education, medical education. There's a lot of people that go online to want to find out how to improve their lives. For that, there's a site called WebMD, so like Andre said, you can go online and find almost anything, as long as the information is not erroneous, and your resources that you are looking into are legitimate. Then you're pretty much guaranteed getting the proper and the right information for what you need.
Going back to what you mentioned as far as those those limiting belief words, people hold themselves back to saying, and this kind of irks me as well, unless you really get into studying personal development. So, like you just mentioned, like, oh, I'll never do that, or I never get to do that. I don't know. I know how that goes, which I got pet peeve with that, but a lot of people, that are, educated as well. I'm talking about coming from school systems, but again, that goes back to sitting behind the diplomas and degrees. Like, oh, I know how to go, so I've tried it before, and now I'm gonna kind of change, the topic just a little bit, because nothing. No offense, and like I said, this is obviously this different for everybody. Like everybody in my family, when I'm talking about my family, I'm talking about like uncles, cousins, first cousins, and like I say, my brother and my parents. We all have degrees. All have those college degrees. Okay, so okay, that's good. The thing is, too, a lot too, and this is again, it kind of goes back to what I mentioned too earlier, and this irks the living crap out of me. Every single one of them complain. The only one close to as far as like how I am is my brother. As far as like, what, I'm gonna shut my mouth up and be like, there's something, there is a better way. As Kiyosaki's Rich Dad had mentioned, and the Rich Dad Poor Dad, as far as people don't sit down and ask themselves, is there a better way? You just go through the you know, go through the cycle, you know, to the rat race week after week. It could be a good paying job. I'm not taking anything away from that, but I'm coming at the people that are just sitting down, complaining, blaming. They know they should do something different, and you don't. That's who I come across and too. And like a lot of people will not understand that too, but that's exactly where the Kiyosaki's, Robert and Kim are coming from as well. It's exactly what Napoleon Hill was mentioning as well too, decades ago, as far as you see something that is like it could be a step that help you to like maybe a better way of living, and you don't like where you are, you're sitting there and blaming, complaining almost every single day, and you don't do anything. That's been my pet peeve for years, especially when I got a home-based business, because I almost fell into that line as far as like, oh, I know how that goes, whatever. Then I realized, I'm not gonna lie, when I first read one of the Rich Dad books, it was Never Forgive, Retire Young, Retire Rich. I was embarrassed. I was completely embarrassed. Here I am, 3 years in home-based business professor. I heard about Kiyosaki. I listened to a couple of his audios so many times. I actually picked up and read the book. I was embarrassed coming from somebody who had a business degree. I was like, they didn't teach me this in school. Patricia, you mentioned financial education. We can go all day, and that's a whole different topic for itself as far as it's not taught in school. It's not. As far as balancing your checkbook, investing in stocks, let's be real. That's not investing. That's not financial education whatsoever, And then with the stock market looming, again, do your research for it. As far as that, if you're thinking that, oh yeah, it's not going to happen. The stock market always comes up and always goes up. Okay, believe that if you want, though, too. But you're in for a rude awakening here. Whenever it comes, whether it be the next few months, 6 months, year, whatever, you're in for a rude awakening. I hate to say that. If you want to bank on the Federal Reserve to keep on printing money, all this thousands of dollars printing this. As we call it, phony money into the system. All right, it takes financial education on top of that too to learn how to leverage your time too. It's Kiyosaki mentioned too. Have money work for you. That's one thing that Rich Dad told them. Have money work for you. They don't teach that in school. I'm sorry. You have to go and do your own, do your own research, do your own investigation on this. Not saying you can't make it in the paper assets, stocks, bonds, mutual funds. Because I'm huge and listen to a lot of the Rich Dad radio podcasts, and he's had people that he's interviewed that have been very successful in paper assets, but not the way everybody else does. That's what I'm trying to get to. You see what I'm saying? That's where we're coming at as far as education goes several different ways. Another thing too, which was kind of hinders some people, and it's sad too, and Patricia mentioned, some people have fear. The school system punishes people for making mistakes. And, Julianne brought up a good point, too, when we were talking the other day, and I wish she was on here as well. The different ways to get to your success level. That's very true. Back to what we mentioned earlier, there's only a couple ways the school system teaches people how to learn. There's literally several different ways to learn something. Most of the best way is hands-on experience. Lectures and taking tests are really not hands-on experience. Not saying it's not important, but for the most part, get out to the real world. I'm sorry, you wonder why it might be kind of a, sometimes of a struggle for somebody who might have graduated. Maybe somebody might have a master's or whatever. It's like, okay, now I really got this I need to get hands-on experience. And it's sad too, because going back to some of the people that we've listed, Tony Robbins has mentioned this, Kiyosaki, Donald Trump, people coming out of school, they don't really have real world experience, because they're sitting there, because it's on the school system teaching us only a certain way as far as learning, and that's been the problem for him, for Kiyosaki, for decades, and I kind of wondered that as well myself too. It's like, but then you get me somebody like me who wants to learn the football field. Oh, I'm eating that up all day. It's something that interests me. It's something I want to do. Keywords I want to do, Of course, I'm going to go wrong with it. If somebody wants to learn to be a nurse, they would go eat that up. It's like, oh yeah, okay, I got to learn this. They would eat that up because that's what they want to do, But I mean, if it's something that for the maybe I don't want to say average, because I know everybody's different. Somebody has something they're still not too sure or whatever. I don't know. Just telling them to take classes is a good way. Maybe you can find an interest. I know Tony Robbins mentioned that before. As far as you don't have a purpose, there is a passion that you have that eventually over time that can turn to your purpose. So I can't sit behind that as far as or when you don't have a purpose, then you don't know what to do. No, no, no. Everybody has a passion that they like to do, and over time that can turn to a purpose. You see what I'm saying? So again, we can't really sit behind that either. But the thing is, too, it's encouraged, especially in the home-based business and really entrepreneurship, to make mistakes so you can learn. That's how you grow better. Or you find yourself a mentor for whatever it is, whatever profession. It's not so much home-based business, and you model what they did. Try to model their actions. Tony Robbins had a good one. He had a good one decades ago. Jim Rohn, he had a very good one. As far as somebody to model. Obviously, Kiyosaki had his Rich Dad. Trump had his dad as well to model. Somebody who's success. And I don't want to say that all three of those men are like more successful than their mentors. I'm not too sure. But the thing is, they modeled the principles as far as how those guys got successful. That's the main thing. And it shortened the learning curve. That's another thing. So unless you want to be, I know he'll kind of he would joke about it, and I was referred to him too. The Kiyosaki was, reading his books, he was kind of hard-headed, a lot of times not listening to his Rich Dad because he got caught up into the quick success of his Velcro surfer wallet business and whatever, and just ignored the other pieces to actually building a business. That's the main thing to keep in mind too. Whatever it is that you choose to do, education never really stops. It does not stop. You got to keep on. It really starts when you're done with school, on all honesty, But the thing is, and this is, like I said, I've had a problem with this in my family. A lot of people, we like to sit behind degrees and talk about, oh yeah, we got this. Well, it's good to look. Yeah, okay, that sounds all good. Okay, to look the part, but what are your actions saying? It has to keep on going on continuously. You got to keep on learning. What is it? If you're not growing, you're dying, point blank. So that's the one thing too. It's always encourages always to read, read books of people of success, and listen to audios of people of success. That's a good start. You might not have as far as like, okay, I don't have a mentor. Well, like I said, Napoleon Hill was a good one to start off, even though he's been long and gone. But the principles that he laid out as far as success, and that's somebody who had at the time being for a little bit, he had Andrew Carnegie, by the way, as his mentor. So yeah. And on top of that, Andrew Carnegie was like, yeah, go talk to some other buddy for sis. Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, as far as those type of big time names, well into the 1900s, late 1800s that he knew of. So again, as far as modern success, it helps shorten the learning curve. And, this is to continue your education, because this is true. This goes on to it and different ways to reach your success. It's not a true or false, the only true or false, this fill in the blank type way as far as, how, trying to get to any type of success level. You're going to make mistakes along the way, which is really encouraged. Obviously the school system will punish students. And again, that's been our pet peeve. There's little pet peeves as far as that with school system. Not saying school is bad. It's just the way they go about doing it. In certain areas, that's one thing that I know personally I've always had a problem with, so I'm not going to keep on ranting on too. I know, Patricia, you can add on. Well, then again, too, Patricia, I'm surprised. I was waiting for you. You have your own little almost like your own Rich Dad Poor Dad experience with your family too now. I remember you mentioned as far as your mom said, yeah, start a business, and your dad was into, find a good job or whatever. So I'm waiting for you to kind of bring that up as well.
Oh, well, thank you for reminding me about that. Yeah, because my mother wanted me to be a fashion designer because that was her passion. She never had the opportunity to do so because she was busy raising us, but she was an artist. She could sketch, she could draw, and I inherited that talent with her. Maybe one day on our hangout, I'll show you some stuff of what I could do. But I became a fashion designer for 30 years, over 30 years. And of course I use that skill. But now talking about education, it all changed the way that the garment industry and the fashion industry did things. They went to computer, which I learned a little bit, but it was, for me, I'm an old antiquated person, and I'm going to say that I learned how to do that, but I never really used it in my job, and therefore it was like very frustrating for me because I'm more of a hands-on person. Usually creative people are, And people say you can be creative on the computer, which it's a great tool. You could do things faster, and you don't have to spend time whiting stuff out. You can just hit a button and boom, it's done. But yeah, my mother wanted me to be a fashion designer and kind of start my own business too. And my father wanted me to just do that, which was be a um, what do you call it? Get a job and join a union and have that job security. And being a fashion designer or an artist, we know that because of they say they can come a dime a dozen. I did struggle at first because I was new in the industry, going from job to job, that type of thing. And then I've had jobs that were, long lasting for about 5 or 6 years. That's all they ever really lasted in the industry I was in. But then, one door closes, another one opens. Because if I was stuck at one job, I wouldn't have learned what I learned at maybe another job, but within the same fashion industry realm. But yeah, basically, I'm glad that my mother gave me that drive to go off and do what I wanted to do. Could I have been a nurse or a doctor? I ended up, my father wanted me to be a nurse, if anything. And I thought, ooh, I don't want to do that. I like the fact that what a doctor does, but I ended up being a caregiver to a few family members and friends of family members of friends that I helped out, which helped me to take care of my father when he was dying of cancer. But the thing is, you have to find your passion, and a lot of people don't know what their passion is. So I think that they need to experiment or find different be exposed to different things and then educate themselves on that so that then they could take and run with it, so to speak. So, for instance, now, why I came online again, I had to educate myself to computer science, so to speak, how to use the internet, how to do this, how to do that. And we're in the mode of still learning different things. Every day, if you're not learning, something is wrong. Don't you agree, Andre?
Yeah, you cannot learn these things stagnant, and it's just really it's sad because again, going back to what I said, the people that again those people that will sit there and blame the world for everything, they're the ones staying stagnant. Those are not saying most of them, but the ones that have the degrees, whoever got the education and not do anything, you're staying stagnant. I'm sorry. I remember Patricia, you were talking about earlier as far as different people from different across the world. Experience is different as far as learning. I have connected with some people here on Facebook as of late, handful of them from Africa. One young lady I was talking with the other day, she was like, yeah, I can't come from the hood part of the country she's in Africa, but I asked her out of blue, are you big into reading? She's like, big time. I was like, don't ever stop. She's like 10 years younger than me, or whatever. But I mean, the value that as far as what you just mentioned, as far as always continue to learn, to continue to grow, you got to keep on going on. Books are going to last forever, so it's pretty cool. Open those pages. Eric Ward mentioned it before. Something about opening those pages and going through them, just filling your mind with good information, it does wonders. So again, that's kind of why it's the case. I don't know what's the case in my last two books right here. The Art of the Deal and Go Pro right now in the middle of our reading. And Art of the Deal is a 30-year-old book. When people, like I said, will get all talk about the politics and nothing about politics in here. This guy was like all on as far as handling business. Like the first 30 or 40 pages, it was like a week of the meeting. It was like he does not waste time. It's boom, boom. I'm like, how in the world does he do that? It's like another meeting 10 minutes after another, and then another 10 minutes later and 15 minutes. I'm like, oh my goodness. But again, people don't want to, go and actually read as far as, something like 30-year-old book that he had. They'll be quick to be like, oh, put the fences up. That's how people were putting their defenses up in network marketing. Oh, I know how that goes. Oh, I know somebody who failed at that, so I'm going to attach myself to their failure. That's pathetic. That's pathetic thinking. Call it what it is. That's just garbage way of thinking. And the same thing too. I'm not saying anything about the politic part about Donald Trump. I'm talking about the business side of what, his thinking, financial education, which I've always been impressed. And I've read 2 books, Why We Want to Be Rich was one of them, him and Kiyosaki. Another one was Midas Touch. Read those books twice. I'm just like, whoa, I'm blown away from what both of those guys are thinking the same way as far as that people need financial education, because they know as far as, unfortunately, and again, I'm the same way that Kiyosaki. You don't want to invest in something as simple as financial education, go right ahead with a 401k. Go right ahead. I'm not going to tell you not to do so. Not saying it's bad or whatever. I'm not saying you're dumb or stupid. No, I'm not saying that. Just go right ahead, because most people don't want to. Okay, that's cool. This is my thing too. Like I learned when I was started playing football. Never forget when my coaches said, "Hey, football's not for everybody." And that's true. Same thing with entrepreneurship. That's great. That's great. I know Eric Warrior was sitting behind the fact as far as marketing in general. He's like, yeah, okay, start a traditional business from scratch, and tell me how that startup pay compared to compared to network marketing in general. Now he's right about that. And you want to talk about facts. I think the average business just in America to get started is like what, 65,000, something like that, to get on the way, compared to a network marketing company that maybe at the most, what, 100 to 1,000. That's again for the people that know they should be doing something different, but they're not going to get out the butts to do so. That's the giant hit. Again, those are the people we've been talking to. For the open-minded people, better, but it's a different approach now as far as like, oh, okay, that is true. Yeah, let me go and educate myself and whatnot. Let me not go and hop on the society bandwagon as far as taking any information and run with it, which is pathetic, because society doesn't know what they're doing. They're all over the place anyway. There's no clear action. There's no purpose. There's Napoleon Hill mentioned so many times. And again, people just all over the place. It's even a difference between offline marketing and online marketing. It's something I know I had to learn. My company I used to be a part of was shut down 4 years ago. I had to learn as far as like, oh, shoot, there is a different way to be better online, better ethics. One thing we taught several times here, in past hangouts, and we continue to do so because the people they don't know what they don't know. That's the main thing too. And then,
that's what I was going to say, that a lot of people, since we started off with the way education is, and it funnels you into a certain way of thinking, that they were never taught that. So sometimes you cannot blame them for the mindset that they have. But on the other hand, we're human beings. So education is so important that you have to be able to change with what you're learning, because hopefully you're going to see that that's going to be something better for you in the end. The end result will be that once you've learned something new, then you can run with it. And again, once you've learned something new, not only will you be advanced in your knowledge compared to other people, you can teach them now, right? So for instance, they always tell us, like I think on my notes, what I told you yesterday, is that even if we hear it all the time, even if we know one thing more than the other person, we could teach it. And that's why I said, Andre, you and I are educators. Like, for instance, most of my Facebook friends that are on my fan page, they know how to use Facebook, but they don't know how we know how to use Facebook for making money online, right? They are on there playing games. They're doing this and that. They're not even interested. Or you try to tell them, did you know that you can make money online? They don't want to hear it. They're not into that. So, I just leave them alone. But again, we even know how to attract people, attraction marketing, people who want to know how to make money online. So that's an education right there in itself, to teach attraction marketing. And to be able to do that, we know that having a fan page is where we would do that. Speaking of fan pages, we do have a fan page called Overcoming the Odds that you guys are going to have to go to. Hey, Andre, do you want to show them that, by the way? We just started it a couple of weeks ago, about a month ago.
Yeah, it's still in the works, but just real quick.
Yes, we gotta
just let you know too, since you're watching.
We're all admins, and
just scroll down. Just basically scroll down. I scroll down. Just look to your right, because you see on the right side, you see the same exact right here, the same exact page right here. Online Strategist. This is our page, so you can really be honest. to you because I know we've been kind of working on the comments for like forever. Go just leave us, leave us a message here, message us, comment us here somewhere, like pretty much message us here, and just let us know, like if you're getting back for what we're sharing.
Yeah, like that page, and
Yeah.
then if you like the page, then of course you can comment on it. All right. So we would love for you to do that. We'd love to see you on your page. We'll get back to you. We do have to fill it up. I am been kind of busy, and I need to get back in there because I am an admin. And people are going to say, "Well, what's an admin?" An administrator that where I have permission to go on to that site because several of us share that site, and we're all entrepreneurs in the same team, and we can get back there and we can use it for our purposes. Did you know you could advertise on a fan page? Did you know that? Of course, if you're an online internet marketer, you know that. But do you know how to use a fan page to your advantage so that you can get people to your fan page? That's what we're working on. Okay. So, and that's what we're going to do. But make a long story short, education, again, is very important, especially in this high-tech internet, online marketing world. And if you don't keep up, you're going to be left behind. Andre, as usual, I have something I want to share with you because I always try to find something that I could share with. One of them is a quote by Malcolm X, and it says, "Education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today." So think of it as your passport, because when I was, a little girl, again, I like to read, and I like to just imagine me being in different places. And especially, like I said, I wanted to be a fashion designer. So, um, reading books and watching those movies about different countries and wanting to travel, that was education for me. I would go to the library and get out books, and I liked horses. I liked to get pictures and books on different countries and look through them to see what the people were wearing, to see what they did, what kind of food they ate. If I hadn't done that, like I said, as a child, I don't think I would be interested in trying to travel to these other countries. I mean, maybe I would, of course, but I know that that's what I did when I grew up. So my dreams came true, so to speak. And of course, being a fashion designer, I went to Paris several times on business trips. And the good thing about it was all the companies, I didn't have to pay a dime. Um, the company sent me there. So that was a plus, when I was working in the fashion industry. But then I have something else. It's talking about the importance of education in life and society. So, Andre, do you mind if I read a little bit up from here and share? Okay, Andre's nodding his head like this, so if you guys can't see him, because when we're interactive, then he can see me and I can see you, Andre, because we don't have that third person on this whole screen here on Google. See, that's another education, that you only see me when I talk or him when he talks. So we got to get Julianne back on here, But anyway, it's called Importance of Education in Life and Society. I looked this up. So the importance of education is seen by how much the governments around the world spend on it. So sadly, we know some countries, they value education and some don't. And sadly, in certain countries, they won't even let women go to school, which is sad. Everybody being educated makes for a strong family, a strong country, and everything. Because if I'll say this: some of the Middle Eastern countries, I'm not going to name them. I don't want to get into trouble because I don't know, which one's which, that really, really treat their women badly. But second-class citizens. If your wife doesn't know how to read, how can she dispense some pharmaceutical medicine to you or your family, or the dosage and all that? So those kind of things are important for your livelihood, or maybe it says poison on it. Of course, poison has a symbol, but if you never tell her that crossbones and skull means poison, stay away, hey, your next morning coffee, you might be dead.
Funny talk about that with women, but then you see like in network marketing in general, it's on them popping for the female race in network marketing. It's like what, over 70%, like 70. It's like ridiculously high percentage. They are killing it all across the board. Network marketing, online marketing. So it's like you hear that, and then you see network marketing at the same time. It's like, what in the world? And I know that from experience, because I know last 2 events I've been to of our company is like women it's just dominated. Not saying it's a bad thing. Obviously, being a single guy is great, but I'm just saying the thing is that like they have a strong reason why. Single mom,
a strong reason why. I mean, and exactly. And what does a mom do? A mom does so many different things. I mean, they always say if a husband had to pay the wife, she'd be a millionaire and he'd be broke, But let me go back to reading a few other things here. Because sorry, I did ad lib something because that just came off the top of my head. Like I said, because education is important. Or you had a doctor who, or a nurse assistant that grabbed the wrong thing, which has happened. And the patient died because of some miscommunication or miseducation. But the valuable childhood is spent to educate so that he could live a better life, a better life in future. The parents are also eager and alert to educate their child, you would hope, not in the right thing, that's the wrong thing. It says the demand for education is so high that there is a good level of business involved around it. And we know, speaking of that, who makes a big contribution to education is Bill Gates. They have a foundation. I'm not sure what it's called, but I know that they're in San Francisco or something like that. And also Facebook with Zuckerberg. He and his wife also have an educational foundation that they help children. Of course, it's centered around the internet, but because they know the importance of how education is, or the internet and online information is impacting children today. And if they don't teach them, that they are going to be left behind. But then again, they could be quick to catch up because that's the way everything is going now. Like you said, it's not cursive anymore. If you want to learn cursive, you could probably learn it online, right? But so a person's education starts from school, as we know, going to college, and finally ends up with a degree or PG. But again, sometimes you just need a trade. You don't even have to go as far as a college education. We're not bashing it, though. If there's a certain thing that you need to go to college for because you have to do that, like God forbid, once again, I go back to that doctor example. I don't want a brain surgeon operating on my brain or coming to me. I'm on the operating table and he says, where's the brain? And he cuts open my heart. You know what I'm saying? It's like, no. We want him to know the anatomy of the body, right? So it says importance of education in human life. 1, the ability to read and write, right? Education helps a person to be able to read and write. Most of the information is communicated by writing. Hence, it is key for many daily activities. A man who has this ability to read is literate, right? And of course, books. You and I read a lot of books in this online space. We are encouraged by people to read books so that, again, we can educate ourselves, right? And number 2, helps to communicate better. Because when we educate ourselves, we will not be saying duh and then and duh, and we're going to be able to speak I can't even say it. See, now I'm
but hold on that one thought though, Patricia. That's a good point, because at the same time in this online space, that's how we start attracting people toward us.
Yes.
As far as different quotes, like I like to share different quotes on Facebook here, and that's really fun. Like I just showed you earlier, as far as books I've been reading. Now next few days is going to be kind of interesting because I'm going to be quoting a whole bunch from Donald Trump. So when people want to get in their feelings as far as thinking the whole political thing, I'm talking about a 30-year-old book before he even thought about politics. So I'm going to catch people, basically, and where they're at, because it's like, okay, you're so caught up watching the TV, which again limits people, whatever in general. Only talks is limited. It only limits people in so many different areas. It just makes activity. And again, it had nothing. The art of do had nothing whatsoever as far as politics. It's just talk about just him getting stuff done, and getting deadlines down, really not wasting time. So it's like a good example too of time management, because there was no time wasted. It's like he had a strong purpose. This is going to get done. Boom, boom, boom. That's why he was credible too with different businesses, different investment companies, different investors, because they knew, different banks too, because they knew he was going to get the job done. Being a being a, if I'm not mistaken, real estate developer.
Right.
So again, this that's a good point too, as far as being literate, like you're about to say. So that will attract people toward you.
Yes.
As well.
And so when that happens, when you can communicate better, communication involves obviously this includes the speech, signs, gestures, and even body language. A person with better education has refined speech and other ways of communication. That's how you can communicate your ideas, right? So say, for instance, in our area, what do we have? Facebook Lives. If you know how to speak, people are going to be drawn to you because you know how to speak online. And you've developed this skill of public speaking. Maybe you've even taken a course on something like that. I know you guys know I'm one of Jehovah's Witnesses. Well, every week we have the opportunity of being in our theocratic school that helps us to communicate different subjects, Bible subjects albeit, but to the householder, to go and not be fearful to go to a door of a stranger and talk to them about something. And usually, like I said, it's a scripture or a Bible verse, or it's, getting them interested in something that's happening in a world event and relating it to the Bible. But I was never afraid to do that, but going there every week, it's a demonstration of somebody teaching us how to do that. And you can rehearse it. So once you know how to communicate, again, that is invaluable of how to convey the message you want to get across. And of course, we want to be optimistic. We want to smile. And when we communicate something, especially when we're trying to educate someone else with our message. Then number 3, express views and opinions, just like what we're saying. So we look at different leaders and how maybe they'll say, oh, that person is charismatic because they're holding your attention, right? It says education helps a person to express his views in a better manner. He can communicate with a large audience by writing in newspapers, maybe even, or we have our blogs or letters or emails or video recordings, or like I said, live, Facebook Lives. We've got Periscope. We have we have a host of things where we could do that. And now we even have where you can do Instagram Lives, I believe. You can have, what are the Facebook stories? You have all places where you can do this. So, just remember that's something that is available to you if you are educated and you can express yourself well. Then 4, opportunities to make a decent livelihood. Hey, public speaking, what do the presidents do after they leave office? How much money do they make in public speaking, Andre? I mean, I don't know the stats. I don't know the numbers. I don't know the dollar signs, but let's say $60,000 a talk. I mean, I'm just throwing that out there, right? I don't know what they make. But can you imagine when they go to colleges or they go to, different speaking events, if somebody wants them to come on, you can make money. So
that's a skill now too. On top of that, what you're trying to get to, it's not just so much presidents. Look at different. Was one. Tony Robbins was one. Les Brown, I think he teaches a course on public speaking. Because we've been a bias. David Wood, who he's been a monster on. Obviously when it comes to online on the online world too as well. But yeah, I remember he mentioned like 3-4 years ago, doing so many videos helps you become a better speaker in public. And you wouldn't think so unless you shot so many videos and then, you know, maybe have a little fear, but like have to go talking in front of people, maybe at 10 people. But I still, let's say it's like it might scare you, whatever. But when you get to talking, get started, you're like, wait a minute, it's not really that big of a deal. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's something I get a little easier way. I'm just, you know, just throwing it out there, not saying you have to, not trying to get off topic. But again, when I actually apply that, because I'm thinking, again, I come back to educated, like educating myself, like, is this really true? When I actually apply that, I'm like, oh, shoot, this is true. Like, you might be nervous in the initial start, but once you get up there and start talking, like, you get comfortable real quick. I'm not going to lie about it. You're like, and I wish I knew this, to be honest with you, because when I was in college, it was a small, intimate setting. Since my college was business school, we did. I mean, business school is a lot of, you know, sometimes a lot of presentations. If I had known that too, like let's say if I was in today's time, and the cell phones were like, you know, you can shoot videos, I'd be killing it right now. You know, and in front of us.
It's oddly enough, again, that's something that you said they don't teach public school speaking in class or in school. Well, I remember that I don't know if your school did this. But I went to Catholic school, even though I became a Jehovah's Witness. I went to Catholic school for just one time, and we had to get up and read in front of the class, you know, a portion of the Bible. And the first time I did it, only because I was unprepared, you know, I guess there was other classes that I can't, maybe that's the only one I remember I was stage fright of, to get up in front of the class to do so. But I don't remember any other class having to get up and read a paper or read a book. You know, you always go home and read and do your homework. But I remember because all of us had to do that in the class. We got up and we read a portion of the Bible, and I did well, but it's just that it was, you have to prepare, because I guess it was, you know, you have to use your tone, intonation, and all that, depending on some of the Bible is narrative, some of it is just regular, or some of it is poetic, and some of it is drama. So it's like, yeah, that was my first experience for public speaking, but it's something that people don't learn. And that's why, again, mindset, it's so hard to get people, you know, online to get online and do videos. They're frightened. Like, they don't have to be afraid. If they just practice, like we've always said, you got your cell phone, you pull it out, you do it. And if you don't like it, you don't have to show it to anybody. You don't have to upload it. You don't have to do anything. You can delete it. You can record it again. You can delete it again. You could, you know, do it as many times as you feel that you could be comfortable doing so. And then when you do so, join one of the video challenges that we always have. Do a 7-day video challenge. Do a 20-day video challenge, or a 30-day video challenge. And you don't have to pull the topics out of a hat. Usually the leader or somebody who you're following already has that put together, where they have the subjects that you can talk on. And if you find something that you can't talk on, and they only ask you to be short, like maybe a minute, 30 seconds. Of course, you know, the average, I think the last one I was doing, they wanted it to be about 2 minutes. You know, and 2 minutes is more than enough. And sometimes if you can get your message out within, like a commercial, 30 seconds, and the first, what is this? I can't talk. The statistics are, you have to capture that audience in 3 seconds, 3, 5 to 6 seconds. So, you know, even if you think that what you're saying is not important, somebody is going to be captivated by your story and what you have to say. So don't be afraid. Okay, let me see what else there is here. Oh, this is what I say. Many of the middle and lower class groups have better lifestyles through proper education. That's not if they're on drugs and cocaine or something, and, you know, a rock star making millions, but then they're dead, like Amy Winehouse, because of their addictions. But let's say the average person, you know, the average rich person, they're going to have a better lifestyle. All right, but then you meet the other person who isn't, their lifestyle is going to suffer. But it says with the richer person or the person that's educated, they can meet technical skills required to land in a high paying job. And some of the professional educations courses include like medicine, engineering, law, all of those, and computer science skills, scientists. You have to be, well, mathematicians. You have to be educated and all that. So it's kind of an education or guarantee to a better lifestyle, hopefully, if you apply it. And then number 5, ability to serve the society. Now, we always have this problem about money, right? Money is evil. It's not really saying that. This is kind of my opinion in this particular article that I'm reading from. But it says education also helped in the rise of the number of medical experts, engineers, teachers, of course. And then if you become these things, you can serve people better. Or if you learn how to do online marketing the way we can, you can get out of debt. Perhaps if you lost your job, you could learn. This is a skill that you could learn and take anywhere, build a business online, right? And we talk about entrepreneurship in the way of giving back. Because once we learn, it's like we're, what is this, entrepreneurs on fire, ignorance on fire. We're so excited about what we're learning. We want to teach other people. So that's one advantage of being educated. And 6, the use of technology. It says here, the food production, medicine, electronic gadgets, automobiles, and other luxury items were developed due to the spread of science and technology among the professionals through studies. So, you have in school, high school, I forget the name of the groups, but, they all get together and maybe they'll do a science project, and then all the other teams of the schools or whatever get together for like a little mini convention, and, who could make the best, newest invention, and they compete against one another, and the students all collaborate to win a prize or win a scholarship. And then when they invent something new, that technology can be passed on to other people for their benefit. 7, support to economy. Yeah, if they're making money and they're educated, they can, I'm not going to read all of there's a lot more here, but I just want to point out some differences between uneducated and an educated person. Confidence, respect, ease of life, learning, growth in life, and preferences. I'm going to save this list for next week. And the rest of it, we stopped on support the economy, number 7. There's 3 more, 7, 8, 9, and the importance of education in society. We can continue that next week, Andre. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Unless we change our minds for another topic, which we probably will. We'll just try to incorporate, if anything.
Yeah. But we know just a little tidbit that we know that little list, the differences between uneducated and educated. For instance, confidence. What kind of confidence do you think somebody has who is not educated? Andre?
What confidence?
Exactly. Low self-esteem, low confidence in social affairs. Lack of proper education will keep one low in confidence in public affairs. And other hand, the educated person, due to education, there is high level of self-confidence in social affairs. So that was the first one. I'll leave it at that. And if we do get back, there's that list. I'll send you the article. This was taken from StudyRead. Okay, StudyRead, courses, education, science, scholarships. And the article was entitled Importance of Education in Life and Society. So, yeah.
One other thing too to keep in mind when you just listen, this is kind of like what I had right here, as far as as what George Washington Carver said years ago. Education is the key to unlock the golden door of freedom. And that is very true. It's also what Jim Rome said many years ago: self-education can make you a living. Formal education can make you a living. Self-education can make you a fortune. Obviously, we encourage the self-education part. As far as always continue to learn. But, it's not so much, home-based business in general. Go to different seminars and something that you want to invest in. Something you want to learn. Different events, conferences. Learn from those people. Pick different people's minds, like-minded people. That's what we always hear. Basically encourage you. One thing that I know I've said it a lot too early on. That's why I've always been following a lot with the Kiyosaki's. Not once have they ever suggested what you should do. They've always been like, hey, if you want to do paper assets, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, great. Real estate, great. If you want to be an employee, great. If you want to do, business, great. They never tell you anything as far as just to help. They always want, first and foremost, say, hey, go select one, educate yourself in it, then go for it. Make all the mistakes you can, because that's how you're gonna learn. That's something to keep in mind with. Again, going back to what we said earlier with the traditional school system, it sucks because they punish you for making mistakes. You get a wrong answer, wrong. But the game of life, there's more than different ways, more than one way to get there to that success. Like perfect example, professional athletes. Not everybody has a nice, decent family upbringing, whatever. A lot of guys come from like maybe hoods, or single parent homes, or no parents at all. And for whatever reason, they just had that burning desire to just go make it happen. Sometimes it wasn't even to be a professional athlete. It could have been they had a talent in one sport, but they were so talented they decided to take it to this particular sport. But there is no wrong way to get to your destination. You just gotta go. Be willing to just go through the temporary setbacks. Learn from the failures, learn from the mistakes, and just keep on going. That's the main thing. Don't be like a Napoleon Hill mission thinking we're rich. When the guy was 3 feet from gold, and decided to go give his stuff and his equipment to somebody else who did his research. Oh, by the way, educated himself, and the next thing you know, boom, he's an instant. I don't say instant millionaire, but he became rich because of that, because he had done his research, did his due diligence. That's what we're basically implying. We're basically implying go to school, great. Don't stop educating yourself. Just stop. Because of school. My dumb behind when I was done with college, like I'm never gonna read a book again. Now I've read like 60+ books, a lot of them like twice. I can't stop learning because I'm just like I'm soaking in like a sponge. Hopefully you do too. That's the whole point of us really sharing this so far today. So if you have been getting value on what we've been sharing, like we mentioned, you see on the right side, you see the page where we mentioned, we call the online strategist. Well, leave us a message, comment below, let us know, or you can scroll down. Yes, let me in. You can go connect with us there, and we just like to look forward to connecting with you. Get a chance to know you and see if there's a way that we can help you as well. And keep in mind too, it's funny because something we didn't have to. I'll just bring it up anyway. Because the results are always going to be different for anybody, any type of profession. You can see the anchor disclaimer because it was more than this. Results as far as a business or monetary things, results for anything. You can't really, guarantee that for anybody. I know I'm talking with some people, some different prospects here the last few days. Some people are like, oh, well, what can I expect to maybe get paid here or get paid there? Well, if you're a business owner, shame on you because you know better than that. You should know better than that. And, because business owners, you don't get. It's not a guarantee that you're going to get money instantly or whatever. I mean, that's the fun challenge, especially if that's what you want to do. My point is, as far as educate yourself on that too, because big business owners know better as far as like, hey, I like this. It might take some time, but if I continue to grow myself, give value or whatever, over time, guess what? The monetary needs are going to come. That's what we're trying to say. So of course, when you see the income disclaimer of anything, the results are never going to be typical of anything. They are possible, they vary. Yes, we know that they still are possible. That's basically trying to imply too as well. So again, if you got value for what we have been sharing, let us know. Connect with us on our Facebook page, or just connect with us on the Yes Let Me In link, which you see below here as well. And we just look forward to connecting with you. And again, just look forward from hearing from you and just trying to help you out where we're trying to go. So again, we'll see you again, same time, same place next week as well. So until then, we will see you then.
Yes, thank you for joining us as usual on this Friday at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time and 3 o'clock my time here in California. We really appreciate you stopping by. Peace.